Welcome back to the Sports Playbook. You're joined by your host, Demos, and we have a special co-host that's sitting on my right today who'll be joining us for this series. Welcome to the podcast and to the Sports Playbook, Jen Len.
Thanks so much, Demos. Happy to be here.
Fantastic. So, as you can see, this is a bit of a different format, and this series is going to be called A Moment from the Archives. We're going to be going into a deeper dive into pivotal moments within sporting history. So reliving moments that changed the game or the sport forever. So let's dust off the archives and let's get right into it.
Controversy is ending with controversy.
No, Mike, that was so not right.
So how did we get to this point? Let's set the scene. Context for the season, 2021.
Yes, so it is the Formula One 2021 season, and there's been a lot of change up and down the paddock. We have Lewis Hamilton winning his 7th World Championship in 2020. So he equaled the great Michael Schumacher when he did that. You have Sebastian Vettel leaving Ferrari and going to Aston Martin. Carlos Sainz leaving McLaren, going to Ferrari to replace Vettel. You then have Ricciardo moving from Renault to McLaren. And mind you, all these three moves happened during May of 2020. So right when COVID kicked off, no Formula One racing had happened at this point. These are when these moves are happening.
And all three of those drivers as well are no longer in those seats as of the start of the 2025 season, which is really interesting that none of these moves lasted very long.
Yeah, exactly. You have, after leaving the sport in 2018 for a bit of a sabbatical, Fernando Alonso returns to Renault. They're actually called Alpine at this point in the 2021 season, but Alonso moved back to the team where he had previous championship success. So winning in 2005 and in 2006. You have Sergio Perez moving from Racing Point, which is now Aston Martin in 2025, to Red Bull Racing to replace Alex Albon. And Alex, unfortunately, has become a reserve driver for the 2021 season. There were just no seats left when this all kind of eventuated. Valtteri Bottas is racing for Mercedes at this point, and he's in his final year of his deal. He's been with the team since 2017. George Russell is racing for Williams at this point, and is a Mercedes junior, and he's trying to prove to Toto that he deserves that second seat. So you'll see that become quite pivotal in this year.
Definitely. And as you touched on, this is still, I guess, a COVID-affected season coming off the back of the 2020 a COVID-affected season, which I feel like a lot of new fans came to Formula One after watching Drive to Survive through lockdowns, myself being one of them. So I think it was a really interesting and pivotal season for a lot of new fans to start following.
Definitely. And we also have a couple of debutants on the grid. We have Nikita Mazepin from Haas. We have Mick Schumacher of Haas. So he's the son of the great Michael Schumacher. And you have Yuki Tsunoda from AlphaTauri, who are now known as the Racing Bulls as of 2025.
It's also the final year of car regulations that Mercedes have really dominated since the start of the 2017 season. But I think heading into the 2021 season, Red Bull were definitely looking like their closest rivals. And most F1 experts and journalists commented that Mercedes weren't as strong heading into the first race after pre-season testing. And that Red Bull were definitely the next strongest team who could pick up the pieces, with their engine supplier Honda exiting at the end of the 2021 season. So it was really Honda's last chance to try and win a constructor title as the engine supplier.
So let's get into some pivotal races and moments. We have the first race of the season in Bahrain. You'll notice throughout this year that Australia is not actually in the championship at this point.
Shame.
Because it's still COVID affected. The last race held in Australia was 2019, so Bahrain kicked it off from a COVID point of view.
Yeah.
This was the first race we actually saw Lewis and Max battling out from the very start, very much foreshadowing what was to come. We saw Lewis and Max battle it out on track. Max actually overtook around the outside of the track with about 3-4 laps to go, but the move was deemed illegal. He was outside the track limits. Max had to give that place back, and Lewis hung on for his first win of the season, winning by 0.07 second gap back to Max. And as a side note, Nikita Mazepin, his debut went off to an absolute flyer. We saw him spinning off at turn 3 and getting stuck in the gravel trap. So nice work, Nikita.
Yeah, perhaps also a foreshadowing of Nikita's Formula One career.
Very much so. And it was only one race later that the two championship protagonists almost came to blows at the Imola Grand Prix. So on a wet track, Max pushed Lewis wide at turn 2. And if you look at the footage, let's just say that Max used all the available track. He stayed within the white lines, didn't do anything wrong, but yeah, he pushed Lewis all the way to the outside. And this, for Lewis, was the first time we'd seen him in a proper championship battle against another team since 2018, which was Ferrari and Sebastian Vettel. This race saw multiple crashes and DNFs on that wet, dry track. We had Mick Schumacher in the Haas crashing on pit straight, trying to warm up his tyres. We had Lewis Hamilton also going off, where he was able to very smartly reverse the car through the gravel trap, and he was able to stay in the race. We also had Bottas and Russell coming to blows going to turn 2. In fair to say, a wild crash. There was debris all over the track, and both drivers brought out the red flag, which led to tension in the fight for that second Mercedes seat. And Verstappen, he got the win, but the fight for the championship was really starting to heat up.
Yeah, I mean, it's so early on in the season to have so many little battles happening between Lewis and Verstappen, but as well as Bottas and Russell trying to get that second Mercedes seat. Definitely a crazy start to the season. And to quickly touch on the next few races, we had the Spanish Grand Prix, where the Mercedes team outsmarted Red Bull on their strategy, thanks to James Vowles, who at the time was the Mercedes technical director, now the team principal of Williams as of the 2025 season. And I guess what they did was they gambled on a 2-stop strategy for Lewis Hamilton. So that saw Lewis pit on lap 42 of 66, and then he managed to get past Verstappen in lap 60 in a really great drive. So I think I love stories like that because it really shows that the skill being able to drive is only one facet of Formula One. There's so much strategy and other things that come into play when making like race decisions and things like that. Then we also had the Monaco Grand Prix, and I think a lot of people at that point really hoping for Charles Leclerc to step up and really try and win his home race. But unfortunately, his gearbox failed on the formation lap, so he was out before even really getting to give it a go. Then we had Bottas in second place, pitting on lap 31, but then his right front wheel nut, they just couldn't come off at the pit stop, and then he was out of the race. And then I think, interestingly, it took the team 5 days to get the wheel nut out of the car, which is wild.
Yeah, and just to add to that, they had to bring the car back to the factory to use all technical appliances to try get this wheel nut off.
Wow. They were definitely not getting it off in the race, that's for sure.
Goodness no.
But this saw Verstappen take the win, Carlos Sainz in second, which was his first podium for Ferrari, which is great. And then Norris in third. So I guess just to check in where we are at championship points-wise, heading into the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, the standings were Max ahead by 4 points.
Absolutely. The Azerbaijan Grand Prix, fair to say this race always delivers. At the very start, when it came into the championship, it was not much was always happening during this race, but it kicked off, and it's happened again where the two championship protagonists were back at it. Max had a terrifying tyre failure on lap 46, so a couple of laps to go from home, and he was out of the race. He hit the fence, the red flag came out. Which what this means is the race actually restarted. So they all formed up in the grid. You had Perez and Hamilton on the front row. Hamilton got a flying start. And if he won, he would extend his championship lead by one race. When Hamilton went off at the start line, he locked up his front tyres and he went off down the escape road at turn 1. So he was out. He slipped all the way down to 16th place. To put this in perspective, Hamilton had 54 straight point-scoring races.
That's crazy.
Which that takes him over 2.5 seasons
that's
to build
huge,
that.
Yeah.
So the finishing order for that race was Sergio Perez winning his first race for Red Bull. You had Vettel in second for Aston in their first podium.
Yeah.
And Gasly third for AlphaTauri.
Wow.
So we had 3 races post this where Max won all 3 races, but now we're heading into the British Grand Prix. You ready for this one?
What an insane start to this race. Like, it was actually wild. Can you maybe talk us through what happened here?
Yeah, so Verstappen and Hamilton were on the front row of the grid and they were side by side for the first half of the lap of the Grand Prix. At Copse Corner, so around the back half of the track, You guessed it, they touch. And to say they touch was an understatement. Verstappen flew off the track. I don't think he touched the gravel trap. He skimmed across it and he smashed into the tyre barrier. There's actually fan footage that shows the crash, and you see the debris actually going through the crash fencing that's 5 metres behind the track.
That's insane.
The impact itself was 51 Gs. So that is a world of hurt for Max. And he reported post this that he was quite dizzy, and this has actually affected him all the way through to the United States Grand Prix. So the British Grand Prix is in July. The United States Grand Prix is in October. So you can go to show how much this really affected
the
him.
ongoing impacts, as in the dizziness and things like that.
Yeah, so he was saying that at the United States Grand Prix, when you're heading up the hill, because it has a big hill in Texas, he couldn't see turn 1 properly. His vision was...
Wow, really?
Yeah, it was muddled.
It really begs the question if people should be driving when they're that affected by a crash. Maybe that's a question for a doctor.
Yeah,
for another day perhaps. But that's really interesting that he was so impacted by it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I wouldn't say his driving was necessarily impacted by the fact that he was struggling to see and things like that.
No, definitely not. And for his role in the incident for the British Grand Prix, Hamilton received a 10-second penalty, which I guess begs the question, did the punishment fit the crime in this instance? I'm not going to answer that. You can answer that question. It's a bit of an interesting one.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's always tricky when you do a move that sends one driver out of the race completely and they can't finish and potentially compete for points. And you might get a 10-second penalty, but you can still compete for points if the drivers 11 to 20 are far enough behind.
Yeah, absolutely. And after the race restarted, because there was an obvious red flag, Charles Leclerc took control, and on lap 50, Hamilton, the same corner that he hit Verstappen, took the inside line and he took the lead and won the race. This was Hamilton's 8th British Grand Prix victory.
Yeah.
That's an incredible record by itself.
Such a good record. I really wonder if Leclerc kind of backed off around that corner, having seen what happened to Max a few laps earlier.
Yeah, because he really ran wide and went completely off
Gave
the track.
Hamilton as much space as he needed, as he wanted.
It's possible. And then we head into the final race before the summer break. We're in Hungary. The rain arrived just prior to the start of the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
To the point where on their formation lap, they went out with slick tyres, and just before the Grand Prix started, they had to fit the intermediate tyres.
Yeah.
So it goes to show not much prep going on. It was a very hot day in Hungary. Mercedes locked out the front row and Red Bull locked out the second row. Heading into the first corner, fair to say that the chaos ensued straight after.
Yeah.
Bottas locked his fronts, hit the back of Norris, and in turn, Norris hit Perez. Bottas, who was still sliding off at this point at turn 1, hit Verstappen, and you guessed it, both Red Bull drivers were taken out in the first lap. So Verstappen was able to limp home and limp around, I guess, the rest of the track. Meanwhile, just behind them, you've got Lance Stroll. He just completely missed turn 1, to say the very least.
He just drove straight off, did he?
He literally used Charles Leclerc at his braking marker. He hit straight into the side of him, and they in turn both smashed into Ricciardo. And Ricciardo at this point of the season, he'd started 11th. He hadn't had a terrible start, but he needed a result to really solidify his McLaren campaign.
Yeah.
And if he missed that, he likely would have come out in 2nd or 3rd place after that crash.
Yeah.
But they hit him, he spun around, that was the end of his day. You guessed it, there was a red flag again, and it was so hot during this red flag period that the track actually dried up. So much so that when they went back out to do the next start to the race.
Yeah, after the red flag.
After the red flag, all the runners were on intermediate tyres, and they had to change their tyres. Everyone except for Lewis, though. So Lewis restarted the Hungarian Grand Prix by himself.
I still remember seeing the images of that, and he's the only car on the track.
Yeah.
Ready to start at the lights. It was quite a funny image if you showed someone that didn't really understand all the intricacies of Formula One.
But then, so everyone had pitted for slicks, with the first of those runners being Esteban Ocon for Alpine and followed behind him by Vettel from Aston. Hamilton a lap later came in for slicks and he rejoined last.
Yeah.
On lap 63 of 70, you see the wily old fox of Fernando Alonso in the Alpine using all the track limits to defend Hamilton. And this was because he was trying to build the gap out to Esteban. So he didn't want Hamilton to overtake him there because Hamilton was going to win the race. He had more pace than the front runners. So Fernando was really trying to hold him off at this point.
really helping his teammate, in other words,
really helping him out. And Hamilton eventually got through, but it took a fair few laps for this to actually happen.
Yeah.
And we saw Esteban winning his first Grand Prix
Yeah, wow.
for him and for Alpine in a long time. Vettel second and Hamilton third. But it would come about 2-3 hours post this that Vettel was actually disqualified from the race. And this is because his car didn't have enough fuel for the FIA to take a fuel sample. So in rulings, the FIA need to take 1 litre of fuel out of the cars post-race.
Yep.
For Vettel, he only had 300 mils of fuel that they could take out. And as such, they can't test it. So they actually disqualified him from the race. So Hamilton moved to second and Carlos Sainz came third.
Yeah. Another one of those really funny little rules that perhaps it has to do with the driver, it has to do with the strategy, like lots of things that go into it and needing to have that fuel in your car.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, we'll take a short break, just like F1 did.
Yeah.
And we'll be back post the summer break.
Alrighty, back from the break. We unfortunately did not have a summer break, unlike our F1 drivers, so that's okay. And we're at the Belgium Grand Prix. And it was a real rain-soaked race, and qualifying really became quite crucial to try and lock in a good result on points day on the Sunday. So we had George the Muscle Russell. I think that's a self-appointed name, perhaps, from George.
It might be, and maybe Alex Albon too.
Yeah. Started in a really amazing qualifying performance. So he got P2 for Williams, which quite amazing in a Williams, particularly at that time. They were definitely not.
They were struggling.
Yeah, that far up the grid for sure. We saw Verstappen finish first and Hamilton third. So when the race came along, the rain was so heavy they had to red flag for over 3 hours, and they only managed to get in 2 laps behind a safety car. So half points were awarded to the top 10, which very interesting, probably another really pivotal moment in this season that they weren't able to do this race properly.
Yeah, we haven't seen half points in a very long time. Like I can't remember the last time that happening. And the 3 hours is because they have a time limit for these races. So when the sun sets, so they couldn't go past that point, and hence why they had to call a race when they did.
Why they only got 2 laps in, Such a long time as a driver as well to have to be semi-switched on. Like not fully switched on because you're not driving, but if the rain stops, you'll have to go on and you'll have to be ready to go.
And that's the thing. They could be called with 5-10 minutes notice. So some are having a sleep, some are trying to chill out, some are kicking a football around.
Yeah.
All drivers had their own way of dealing with it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we move on to the Dutch Grand Prix, and we hadn't seen F1 return back to Zandvoort, but for the first time in 36 years.
Yeah, wow.
So a very long time. And for the first lap, it was in a cloud of orange haze with all the millions of flares happening around the track. But we saw home hero Verstappen winning the Grand Prix from Hamilton in second place. And then we head to Monza, the speed temple. Ricciardo and McLaren were on it from the very start of this weekend. He qualified P2 in the sprint race and he started on the front row alongside Verstappen. The race started and Ricciardo got an absolute flyer. He took the lead going to the first corner and it was the battle behind him that really started to kick off. Verstappen and Hamilton got into it again going to the turn 4 chicane where Verstappen actually forced Hamilton wide on the first lap. This was very much a sign of things to come in this Grand Prix because shortly after, Verstappen had a terrible pit stop. It was over 11 seconds.
Wow.
And for context, a good pit stop in F1 is somewhere in the 2 to 3 second range. But normally 2 seconds is preferable. So he had a terrible pit stop. Hamilton made up the gap. And on lap 26, Hamilton pits, comes out alongside Verstappen. They head into the first chicane, and Verstappen's car, they made contact. It climbed over the Hamilton car, rolled onto the halo, and they both ended up in the gravel trap in a huge crash.
Yeah.
That was their day done.
Like, to set the picture, it was as though Verstappen's car was on top of Lewis's, really. Like, his wheel was almost where Lewis's head would be, but for the halo.
Yeah, and for everyone at home, like, the halo was something that was brought in by the FIA in 2018 after multiple testings.
Yeah.
So they had either, they were going to do a glass shield or a halo. So those were the two options. No doubt, though, I would say that halo saved Lewis that day.
No, it was a halo for him, for sure.
Absolutely.
Aptly named.
Because Verstappen's wheel would have rolled over his head.
Yeah, and the halo, for people maybe that don't know,
Yeah.
if you, like, it's like the circular thing really above the car. Is that how you would describe it?
Yeah, absolutely. And so they were both out of the race. There's an iconic photo of them both actually getting out and just walking down pit straight.
Yeah.
And they're both about 200 metres away from each other.
Not saying a word to each other.
No, they both had their helmet on, which for drivers is like,
don't talk to me.
yeah, don't talk to
Yeah.
me. Stay away.
Yeah, fair.
And then, Ricciardo, he won an amazing Italian Grand Prix from the very start of that race to the very end.
Yeah.
Total control. He set the fastest lap on the final lap. So
How good.
like on old tyres as well.
Yeah.
So it goes to show, like, he had a lot of pace this weekend. For Ricciardo, total elation. He won his 8th Formula One Grand Prix. The last time he won a Grand Prix was in 2018, Monaco for Red Bull. It goes to show how long it's been. And it was the first 1-2 for McLaren since 2012
Yeah, wow.
at the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Yeah. Kind of foreshadowed, I guess, things to come for McLaren in, 3-4 seasons' time. But I would say it was Ricciardo's last decent weekend in Formula One.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's quite a shame.
Yeah. Great. Well, now we're turning to the Russian Grand Prix, and I guess this is 2021, so we haven't seen a Grand Prix in Russia since the 2021 race, and who knows what will happen, if we'll ever see one in Russia again.
Yeah.
This is another wet race. I feel like we had some really pivotal wet races throughout this season.
Definitely.
So we've got Lando Norris on pole, which at this point in time, and probably for a little while, not to spoil, but Lando hadn't won a Formula One race.
Yeah.
And he and Carlos Sainz had a really strong battle in those early stages of the race. But then we see with about 6 laps to go, so lap 47 of 53, I think my maths is right.
Yeah, you're definitely right.
The rain came, and Norris's engineer told him to pit quite persistently to change his tyres from slicks to inters.
Yes.
And he chose to stay out on the slicks, which was very interesting because unlike Norris, Hamilton did choose to come in and pit and change to inters.
Playing the safety card. Like Lewis had everything to lose in this situation.
Yeah, because he's behind and he had to make up 19 seconds after he pitted in the 49th lap.
Yeah.
Which 4 laps to go to make up 19 seconds is not an easy feat.
No, absolutely not.
For sure. But I guess with 2 laps to go, Norris's gamble did not pay off for him, and he slid right off the track, and Hamilton roared past him on his intermediate tyres, and that saw Lewis Hamilton win his 100th Grand Prix, which is incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
He started in this sport in 2007 at McLaren, and to this point, at this point, he had won every single year he had won a Grand Prix.
Wow.
Which I don't think we'll see another driver like that for a very long time, or if not ever. He's one of a kind.
Yeah.
And in the following races, not too much actually happened here, but one key player emerges in the Max and Lewis championship battle.
Yeah.
It's Sergio Perez from Red Bull. In the Turkish Grand Prix, Sergio earned the nickname the Minister for Defence for holding off Hamilton.
Yeah.
He held him off for about a lap or two, and many thought Hamilton would just pass him, go past. Perez pushed him and pushed him hard.
Yeah, and I think this is where we really started to see how Max might win this championship with his teammate and the defence that Perez did in this race, and then what really did play out for the last few races as well.
And we were starting to see as well, Bottas was helping, but not to the extent of what Perez was doing.
Yeah.
And I think Bottas at this point, he'd said that he was leaving Mercedes.
Yeah, I was going to say, did we know that Russell was going into Mercedes at this point? Yeah.
We knew at this point. So we knew that for 2022, Bottas was going to Alfa Romeo at the time.
Yeah.
And Russell was going into Mercedes for 2022. And Mercedes really wanted Bottas to help, but I don't think he cared enough, to be completely honest.
I was going to say, you wonder if the hunger isn't there. The team's dropped you. They're going to bring in the young new driver. I wonder if that care to try and help your teammate win his 8th straight championship after you have been deprioritised for your time at Mercedes. Yeah, I wonder if that hunger's just not there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in the US and Mexican Grand Prix, respectively, Verstappen beat Hamilton. It was a Verstappen victory and a Hamilton second in both races. So very much to sum up those few races.
Yeah, great. Okay, so we've got 3 races to go now. We're getting there. Yes. I feel like it's a long season for everyone, but we are getting there. We've got Max ahead of Lewis by 19 points.
Yeah.
So the way the points worked, 25 points if you win.
Yep. 18 for second.
Yep.
Third for 15 points.
15. So we're really like neck and neck. 19 points is not a lot when you've got 75 points worth to still get if you win the last 3 races, really.
Definitely.
I guess at this stage, what on earth could we possibly also fit into this season?
Funny you say that, Jen Lynn, because it really chaos ensued in these final 3 races.
Probably could have just talked about the last 3 races. We could have skipped the rest of the season.
To be honest, we probably could have.
Yeah.
So we go into the Brazilian Grand Prix, and Hamilton, so the way that the Brazilian Grand Prix works, they have a sprint race. So they do qualify on a Friday, sprint race on the Saturday, and then race on the Sunday.
Yeah.
On the Friday, Hamilton was on pole, but he got disqualified because of infringement with his rear wing.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, it was a pretty important one because he started the sprint race back in last place.
Which the sprint race, I guess, also has points,
yes,
probably to call out. It's not just the 25 points you get from winning the race on a sprint weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. But Hamilton, remarkably, he made up 15 spots in a 100-kilometre race. So it's roughly about 20 laps. He made up 15 places.
Wow. That's very impressive.
Yeah, exactly.
Shouldn't be surprised at this stage with Lewis Hamilton that he does impressive things.
No, of course not. But then on Sunday, he actually started from P10. So you'll note there the maths doesn't math, let's call it. So he actually got a 5-second penalty, and it was due to exceeding internal engine units. So nothing that he could control. It was something that the team had. So, yeah, that 5-second gap brought him back to P10. Yep. And Verstappen was on pole.
Yeah, so number 1.
He had a clear run.
Yeah.
And on lap 48, Hamilton caught Verstappen, and yes, again, Verstappen drove Hamilton just straight off the track.
Didn't leave a lot of room maybe available for Hamilton.
No, if the track's here, I think they're about 10 metres wide of that.
Yeah, okay.
And all the track limit.
Yeah,
so you could very much tell, like, Verstappen had nothing to lose in this situation. He was just going after it.
Yeah.
But then 11 laps later, Hamilton composed himself. He got his elbows out and he got in front of Verstappen.
Yeah, wow.
Pretty remarkable move down the back straight. Hamilton, an amazing drive. He took the win. So with 2 races to go, we have Verstappen holding on to the lead with a 14-point gap.
It's shrinking.
It's ever so much shrinking.
It's shrinking.
And then in the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, this is the first race in Saudi Arabia. It's in a place called Jeddah, and it's under lights.
First race ever?
In
Jeddah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
First race ever.
Yeah.
Very much under the lights and under the spotlight was this race. It was race stewards, track limits, everything happened in this one.
And this is the second last race for the year.
Second last race for the year.
We've got our race officials are very busy at the end of the year.
Yeah, they needed a break at this point, to say the least. Mick Schumacher in the house had a terrible crash. Lap 10, he caused a red flag.
Yeah.
Just before this, Hamilton pitted for tyres. So Hamilton was actually in the box seat. But what happens with the red flag is you can actually change your tyres under red flag conditions.
And it doesn't count as one of your pit stops sort of thing, and you don't lose as much time as what you would pitting in the normal race circumstance.
Yeah, exactly. So Hamilton was about, I think it was P4 at this point.
Yeah.
Verstappen stayed out, so he got a free pit stop. So he could change his tyres and hold on to his lead at this point.
Yeah.
So when the race restarted on lap 15 after a few formation laps,
Yeah.
Hamilton went into the first corner in front with Verstappen. Verstappen just bounced across turn 2. He very dangerously re-entered the track.
Yeah.
And there's a big point in Formula One where you need to re-enter the track safely, which is like slowing down, getting back on track, but not going onto the racing line.
Yeah. So if you go off the track, you have to wait your turn to get back on safely, in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. But behind them, it was a multiple car crash. You had Sergio Perez get turned around.
Yeah.
Nikita Mazepin literally used George Russell as his brake marker.
Oh, gosh.
Slammed into the back of him. It was just chaos.
Yeah.
So you guessed it. There was another red flag. The race restarts again. Verstappen and Hamilton are on the front row.
Yeah.
Verstappen dive bombed Hamilton going into turn 1.
And to describe a
What
dive bomb.
Yeah, a dive bomb is just where you just send the car down the inside and hope to the heavens that the car pulls up and that you go into...
That you turn well enough.
well enough.
Yeah.
So, like, just no regard for the person that's on the outside.
Yeah, you kind of hope they pull out and then you turn quick enough. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hamilton had to take evading action. And this is not the first time this season that Hamilton had to evade a lot of things from Verstappen. And watching the race, I'm going to be completely honest, it was quite uncomfortable because you knew something was going to happen.
Yeah, it was like brewing.
It was brewing.
Yeah.
The commentators were nervous. The team officials were nervous. The team hated each other. Like, they were going after each other. It was just...
Yeah, I guess
insane.
like Lewis and Max, you'd view that as them racing very differently. Their approach to racing is very different. I feel like Max, he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
In a way, that's at least the way that it translates when you're watching the race, which could be really difficult if you're in Lewis Hamilton's position to race against, when you just don't know what that other guy's going to do.
Yeah, you just don't know what's going to happen. And then a few laps later, the FIA asked Verstappen to redress this. And this was because when Verstappen went down the inside and dive bombed him, he went the full track limits. So they said Hamilton to overtake Verstappen.
To give the place back.
Yeah.
And is that because that was an illegal move? They deemed that an illegal move, so he had to give the place back?
Yeah, so gaining an advantage going off track.
You have to give the place back.
Yeah, exactly. So with Jeddah, there's a lot of long straights. So Red Bull were quite tactical, and they said, Verstappen, slow down, let Hamilton go past you.
Yep.
And the point of this was so Verstappen could get DRS and go in front of Hamilton, or get past Hamilton.
On one of the many straights, because it's easier to obviously pass people on a straight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Verstappen slowed right down to the point where it was, again, pretty borderline.
Bit dangerous.
Yeah, it's a bit dangerous.
Yeah.
And Hamilton ran into the back of Verstappen on the straight.
Yes, I remember this, yeah.
So debris all over the track.
And it looked like Hamilton's fault, but for the fact that Verstappen slowed down so dramatically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would think that, Hamilton just wasn't watching what was happening.
Yeah.
But
he was looking at his phone or something like that.
Yeah, literally. So just something nuts. So for this incident, Verstappen received a 5-second penalty.
Interesting, yeah.
Which neither driver was seriously impacted by it.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't both go out of the Grand Prix, thankfully.
Yeah.
But it was bad enough that this was worse than bad blood.
You shouldn't be allowed to do it.
No.
Yeah, there has to be rules in place so you can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. So Hamilton went on to win the race, Verstappen in second. We're going to the title decider. They are equal on points. This very rarely happens.
Yeah.
And so we go into Abu Dhabi. Just before the start of the race, they had a big ceremony and they had all the drivers lined up. You had Lewis on one side, Max on another side. Max was staring down Lewis, like staring absolute daggers into him.
Right.
Lewis, with his earphones in, was just looking around, taking the atmosphere.
Yeah.
He's done this before. Max is trying to win his first championship, so he's trying every tactic to get under his skin.
Yeah, exactly. But Lewis is also trying to become the first person to win 8.
Yeah, absolutely.
So lots on the line.
So much on the line. So both championship protagonists in the final race of the season start P1 and P2.
Of course they do. It
It's so
wouldn't
fitting.
work any other way. Who started P1?
I think it was Verstappen.
Verstappen, yeah.
I think Verstappen started P1 on that. So Hamilton took the lead and on the first lap, and Verstappen challenged him going to turn 5. Again, a dive bomb move, sending it down the inside, hoping for the best that it just pulls up. Hamilton ran wide and he kept the place. But both cars pit on lap 5, did their normal pit stop. Perez, though importantly, the team player for Red Bull, stayed out. So he had to change his tyres at some point,
Yep.
and Hamilton had to get past him.
Yep.
Perez, the Minister for Defence, was told by his Red Bull team to back up Hamilton, to try and get Verstappen to get close enough so he could pass him. Because Mercedes were better on the day. They had a better car. If it was no safety car, like...
Which we'll get to.
Yeah, which we'll get to. From lights out to the end of the Grand Prix, they would have won the race.
They should have won. Yeah.
So the gap was 8.7 seconds, start of lap 20, from Hamilton to Verstappen.
Yeah.
By the time they got to lap 21, Perez managed to hold up Hamilton so much so that the gap was reduced to 1 second.
Wow. So we've got Perez in front of Hamilton.
Yep.
Hamilton in front of Verstappen.
Yep.
And what Perez is doing is slowing down so Max can catch up to Lewis.
Yeah.
Risky though, because if Lewis overtakes Perez, then he's off and flying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that kind of happens. And then we get to, I would not call it a boring part of the Grand Prix, but everyone's going around. It very much looks Mercedes are going to take this out.
So Hamilton now in front of Verstappen.
Hamilton now in front of Verstappen. They were too strong. And the commentators, they go to Christian Horner. So this was about 20 laps to go. So they speak to the team principal of Red Bull
Yeah.
on about lap 48, 10 laps to go. And he openly said, we're hoping for a miracle.
Yeah.
We can't win this race. We need a
Yeah.
miracle.
And what's a miracle in Formula One? A safety car.
A safety car. Christian Horner got his prayers answered, and Nicholas Latifi from Williams hit the wall lap 53 of 58, causing the safety car.
I feel like, unfortunately, this is probably Latifi's legacy in Formula One, what most people will remember him for. And he also received not very nice commentary from fans after the race because of what, I guess, took place. But
we can get into that a bit
we'll
later.
get into that,
I think it's important to point out, like, fans are passionate, but that's not a part of sport. Like, they're risking their lives going out driving these cars.
Yeah.
And casual fans sending death threats to a driver is just, it's not on.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to call that out because it's still happening and it's not good enough.
Yeah, agree. And I think we can safely assume no driver is crashing intentionally. And if they are, they won't be in the sport.
Yeah, exactly. So importantly, Verstappen, who's P2 at this point,
Yeah.
he could pit for fresh rubber, but Hamilton couldn't. And the reason why is because Hamilton didn't want to relinquish track position. So if Hamilton went in, then it just would have been the opposite. So Verstappen would have taken the lead of the race and Hamilton just needed to stay P1. He was kind of stuck. There was,
As in if Hamilton pitted, then you think maybe Verstappen wouldn't have pitted, so he would have been P1 or...
I think so.
Yeah, well, it's hard to...
Yeah,
we don't know. We don't know, but...
Hindsight's a great thing,
Yeah,
right?
I guess Hamilton chose to try and keep P1.
Yeah, exactly. So under the safety car, Verstappen's pitted for new tyres, but he's blocked by lapped cars. So it's important to point out, because the safety car came out so quickly, lapped cars that are not on the same lap as a Lewis or a Verstappen were in between them.
Yeah, so the people at the back of the grid.
Back of the grid.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's lap 56 of 58. We're 2 laps from home.
Not many to go.
There's not many at all. The race officials confirmed that lap cars would not be able to overtake.
Okay, so what does this mean?
So this means that they are just to hold lines. So Hamilton will be in first.
Yeah.
The lap cars are behind, and Verstappen to stay where he is.
Yeah,
So
so-
no change to the order.
Yeah, and in principle, harder for Verstappen to get up to Hamilton because there's 5 cars between Verstappen and Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at this point, they hadn't confirmed when the safety car would come in. there were still talks about whether we finish under a safety car.
Yeah.
Did they get one lap to go racing?
So when we say safety car to come in, have a lap to race properly.
Yeah.
Because I guess when there's a safety car, you have to drive behind the safety car. You can't change the order and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So we're now one lap from home.
Okay.
We're at
so
lap
57 out of 58.
57 out of 58. Race control, in particular the race director,
Yeah.
changed their mind, and lap cars are now allowed to overtake, and they restart the race.
So the race director is Michael, who we heard Toto referencing at the start of this episode. That is
Yes.
Michael, yeah.
That is that Michael.
Yeah.
So it's something to point out. This is not allowed in the rule book.
As in,
What's not allowed is for the lap cars to go past and then they restart the race straight away.
right.
What's meant to happen is the lap cars all go past, then the lap after they restart the race.
so it's kind of like we should set the order for what it should be. So the car coming first, then the car coming second, then the car coming third, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But we have a whole lap to go around under the safety car before we go racing,
Yeah.
which would put us at the end of the race.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With Hamilton winning
with Hamilton in front.
his 8th world championship.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I guess what really surprised me as well about this was like the first season of Formula One I'd watched properly. Like I'd actually watched week to week and enjoyed the races. I was really surprised how much discretion the race director had in real time to basically say, I know that this says this in the rules, but I actually want to do it this way because it will be a better race.
Yeah.
And then I think from that, we really saw the frustration from Mercedes in particular about the decision that was made.
Yeah, and probably one thing to add to that is both the team principals, so Toto and Christian,
Yeah.
they could voice their opinion to the race director throughout this whole period.
In real time.
Yeah, in real time. So the race director is getting two conflicting things by their interpretations of what the rule book is.
And was that really what it was? Toto and Christian obviously are going to interpret the rule book the way that it suits them in this situation.
Yeah, exactly. So to say Mercedes were frustrated and angry
Yeah.
was the understatement of understatements.
Yes, which we heard at the top of the episode.
Yeah, literally. So they restart. It's a one-lap shootout.
So we got one lap to go.
One lap to go. It's whoever's in front wins the championship. Full stop.
Yeah. So how did we start this last lap? What was the order?
So it was Hamilton first,
Yeah.
Verstappen second,
Yeah.
and then Carlos Sainz third.
Okay.
But Carlos is irrelevant in this situation.
Yeah, poor Carlos.
No one cared about Carlos.
It was on a very spicy podium at the end.
Absolutely.
But probably biggest thing, Hamilton, old tyres,
Yeah.
Verstappen, new tyres.
Yeah.
And what's the biggest, I guess, reason why that matters?
Yeah, it means that Verstappen can just push the car more. So he can push the car to its very limit.
Yeah.
Hamilton would just be, I guess, sliding around on track. So he
Yeah.
wouldn't have the same tyre grip. He wouldn't be able to
Yeah.
go into corners more quickly.
Yeah. You can go faster on new tyres, really. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, going to turn 5, Verstappen made his move.
Yeah.
He lunged Hamilton. That's famous dive bomb again. He just sent the car down the inside and
Yeah.
hoped that it would pull up. But because it was on new tyres, it did.
Yeah. Far more grip.
Far more grip.
Yeah.
Verstappen's P1 at this point.
Okay.
Going into turn 9, they draw level
Yeah.
with not many corners to go. I think it's
Yeah.
a 16 corner track. There's not many to go. They draw level.
Yeah.
Verstappen holds that inside line and he sprints into the night to win his first world championship.
Gosh, what a race.
It was actually incredible. I remember watching it and just
Yeah.
being in utter disbelief.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think it was
Yeah.
crazy just how much noise there was, exactly as you said, from both team principals to voice exactly how they were feeling in real time.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And I think it's really important to point out, to Hamilton's credit,
Yeah.
he held himself together so well at the end of this race. His team were obviously heightened of emotions and were very
Yeah.
much expressing that via the radio and also just everywhere. But he held himself together. He sat in that car for a few minutes,
Yeah.
just trying to process what happened. Because he really, in the space of 10 minutes, he could see him winning his 8th World Championship.
Yeah, first person ever to do it.
First person
Yeah.
ever. Taken away in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Gone.
Purely because the safety car came in a lap earlier than what some people would have thought it would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. And I mean, it really begs the question of, would it be boring for this race that was really built up as whoever wins the championship and it finishes under a safety car?
It'd be fitting for the season though, because there was so much happening.
Carnage.
Yeah, there was so much carnage.
Yeah.
Like it would kind of be fitting if it happened like that, but
Yeah.
it was a fairy tale for Verstappen.
Yeah.
And just disappointment for Hamilton. He'd done so much to try and keep it in his grasp, and
Yeah.
it didn't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess really to wrap that all up, like this season was so pivotal for that reason. It was really the first time we saw Hamilton battle for the championship since 2018. But also since 2021, Mercedes have not been the team that they were, as we touched on. The car regulations that came in 2022 really did not particularly favour Mercedes. I think we all remember hearing George Russell and Lewis Hamilton complaining about the porpoising at the start of the 2022 season. And we really haven't seen Lewis compete for a championship since 2021.
Yeah.
But equally, we've seen Max go on and dominate since this 2021 season.
And to that point, with Hamilton not being able to challenge, we've seen that. He's changed teams for the start of the 2025 season.
Yeah, as of when we're recording, he's gone to Ferrari. Yeah.
Yeah. So he didn't have that faith anymore in the Mercedes team, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think as well, like other pivotal things that happened was really Daniel Ricciardo's last strong season in Formula One, unfortunately. I think a little bit of writing on the wall of what was to come, but for a great weekend in Monza.
Yeah.
We also had Kimi Räikkönen retiring from the sport. It's probably the last fully COVID-affected season. Kind of back into the swing of it in the following season in 2022. And I think we really saw the influence that a race director can have, not only on the outcome of a race, but also a world championship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, what a season.
It's quite the season when you think about it, right?
Yeah, I kind of feel like hopefully as we're recording this in 2025, right at the start of the 2025 season, we might see a really close championship battle.
It certainly looks that way. Who knows, in a couple of years' time, we might be doing that.
Yeah, potentially.
So thank you for listening and watching. It's been an absolute pleasure, Jen
Demos.
to wrap this all up with you. So thank you for listening, and we will catch you on the next play. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Sports Playbook. If you enjoyed this week's episode, please subscribe to the Sports Playbook wherever you get your podcast and share it with a friend who also might find it enjoyable. Thank you.